Boys, I'm back with another setup of the day video for a trade where I risked 2.75 points to make 17 points on ES. So this trade is just based off finding some trap buying in my key level of interest for today, which was an LVN from overnight and the previous day's low from yesterday. So in this video, I'm going to break it all down for you guys. I'm going to show you exactly what I saw that made me take the trade. But before I do, most of you guys are not subscribed. So if you trade order flow, or you're interested in learning about order flow, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Post free sauce almost daily on this account right here. Also, you should go and check out my TikTok and my Instagram, which I post strictly order flow content on as well. So with all that, let's get right into it. All right, so if you guys are new here, I'm gonna give you a breakdown of the context for today's session. I'm gonna show you my pre-market plan, and then I'm gonna go over the trade. So first off, we gotta understand the context. So yesterday we sold off pretty hard, and overnight we also sold off pretty hard. And we're pretty much opening inside of this FOMC range from last week. So what I did first was I just looked at the higher time frame volume profile and decided if there was going to be a bounce, where would it be? I came up with the level of 66.41 roughly, and that is just the edge of value you can see right here from this distribution. So another thing that I was watching was on this sell-off overnight, we left an area of low volume, which is actually a lot harder to see now. You can still see where it drops off, but before this session, I should have put the screenshot in my Discord pre-market plan, but I just didn't. And this was the main level I had to be a seller today, which aligned pretty much perfectly with yesterday's low, which that was at 66.78. So my key level for today to be a seller was 66.74 up to 66.78. And basically my plan, if I go back to Discord, if we get some buying off of the open and we come up into that level of 74 to 78, which is the previous day's low slash LVN, once again, I'm going to look to take it short down to this 66.41 was my final short target. I probably wasn't going to ride it all the way down there, but that was my final short target for the day. If we keep selling off from the open, I would want to look for signs of strong buying around the 66.41s. If 41 breaks, we should be able to take out the FOMC low at 66.10. So this is my plan for today. Every single session, I drop my plan in my Discord. If you guys want to join a free Discord, check the link in the description. But that's my plan today. It's really that simple. I was just looking for either, really, I wanted to be a seller up here at 66.74 to 78. And if we did not come up here first, then I was going to be potentially looking to be a buyer around the 41s, which that level was a little bit wishy-washy today, but we'll get into that later. But so here is what the session looks like in hindsight. We opened up at 660. We sold off pretty hard all the way down to 66.31. I didn't catch this sell-off or the bounce right here. What did happen was we had an iceberg right at the opening price of 66.60. And that was a positive delta of, I believe, like 3,500. So there was 3,500 aggressive buyers filling an iceberg order right there, which was a nice break and retest scenario where the level broke. I took it long at 66.64. I took a partial at 66.70, and then the rest stopped out for break even. Following this, I did not see anything that I liked until we came up to right here at this 66.74. So this is where the trade that I'm talking about happened at, actually right after this. So I'll get into this, right? So my first trade was right here around the 74s. I believe my fill price was around the 71s or the 70s. And the reason I took it was because right here, we had some trapped buying at first, and then the aggressive selling came in after that. And you can kind of see this wick on the delta right here. So these are delta bars. And what this shows you is delta as it is forming in real time per candle. So like this delta started off positive. These buyers got trapped right here. And then it finished negative after sellers started coming in right here. So I took this short with my stop loss right above 73.75. So pretty much right at 74. So yeah, I took a partial at VWAP, which is right down here, 66.60. And also, if you remember earlier, this was where that iceberg was, and I can just show you guys. So if I come back a little bit, you guys can see this plus 3,800 delta, or you can just literally look at the delta on the session. Plus 4,000 delta at the opening price, which is 66.60. So this was a very important level of interest on today's session. And this is why I took a little bit of a scale whenever we came down here. I believe it was actually after this, right? So after we sold off from the 74s, I took a scale at 66.60. It held as support and it stopped me out for break even. Now the thing was, whenever it stopped me out for break even, this buying that took us up here was super weak. It was very dead. It was not strong at all. I'll show you guys the book map real quick. So this is what the trade looks like. This is that buying right next to my face. This is that buying that I got short off of. This trade took a little bit to actually play out. It ended up playing out a little bit, come down to 6660 right here. This is where we bounced right off that level once again. But just notice this buying right here. See how the CVD is just barely moving up at all. And on top of that, there's just not a lot of aggressive bubbles or larger bubbles, which each one of these bubbles is 55 contracts or more, by the way. So the buying was super weak, and we come up to this 6670 level, which had some sellers earlier, and we just could not fill these. I believe they filled and then reloaded right here at 6670. So after seeing this, the failure to fill this, I decided once again, after breaking even on the contracts in the previous trade, that I put it on once again for another short position. This time my entry was at 67, I believe 67.25, and my stop was right under the 66.70s. I was risking 2.75 points for my final target to be these orders down here that we were trying to fill throughout the session, down here through the 53s, down through the 50s. So this was my main target. That is why it was, normally I don't take targets that are like 17 points, but today we had a wider range. We had more volatility. On top of that, we had orders sitting there. So it was actually, it made sense, right? So obviously this first trade was not the one that played out for 6.2, but this second one right here did. And it was still kind of based off of this first trade. Really, I could have just never moved my stop loss to break even on that first trade, and I never would have got stopped out of that first idea, right? But this idea revalidated itself after this weak buying came up here, and we just failed to fill these 70s. So that's why I took it again. But so keep in mind, just like every great trade, this was aligned with the context. It had a location of interest, and it had order flow confirmation, which is the recipe for a great trade. So I have my planned key level right here from 74 to 78. I got my order flow confirmation happening where there's buyers being trapped. The delta flips right here. Sellers started stepping in. And once again, if I show you guys the book map, as soon as we came up to that 74, 78s, we can just ignore this drawing for now. I don't even know why it's there. As soon as we came up to the 74, 78s, after these buyers got trapped right here, just notice the CVD just creeping down, creeping down. So basically the selling pressure is starting to come in here, and it's just not stopping. And this was another reason why I was so confident in this re-entry, because this little bounce we had was off very weak volume. And after the bounce happened, the CVD turned around once again, and aggressive selling was dominating. So that was the common theme during this trade until we actually get down to like the 55s, 56s. Then we have some buying come in that ultimately fails. And finally, once again, the aggressive selling stepped in, took us all the way through this TP. And basically my whole thesis and my whole mentality during this trade was, if we break below 660, I wouldn't even be surprised if we took out low a day, because 660 was the most relevant or the most important area of interest or level of interest that formed intraday. So that was my thesis. I took full profit at the 650s, but I was not going to be surprised if we went to low a day, and we actually did go to low a day, swept it, and this is where we have bounced from since. Yeah, in my opinion, the cleanest, clearest setup of the day was right here from that 74, 78 level that I had. So yeah, if you guys get value out of these videos, make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. If you need a book map discount, check out the description. If you want to join the free order flow Discord, check out the description. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.